Okay, in this video what we're going to do is specifically look at formulas and functions, and we're going to just have a little practice of how to do some things in spreadsheets. So what examples can we do? Well, let's have a look. First of all, we're going to write things like week, and we're going to do apples here, bananas. Right, and then we're going to do, over here, we'll do a total. Now the first thing you can do is select those and you can make those bold, for example. You could change the background color to be like blue. Right? So you can do these kind of things. I can change the text color to be white. Dead easy. Yeah, so you can highlight this kind of stuff. Notice that the text is on the left hand side, so that will be something that you will notice with this. Right? And what we're going to then do is just do 1, 2, 3. Now the reason I did 1, 2, 3 is because I can select those and then drag them down so that I have now up to 10. And you can imagine I can do that and do it up to hundreds. Right? Now in here we're just going to add different numbers, different stages here. Just randomly put some different numbers in. Oh, not that last one. And here I'm going to do the same. Okay, and so there you go. Right, now in the total what we're going to do is look at a formula. So how do formulas look? Well, formulas start with an equal sign, and when you do the equal sign you then can pick the cells that you want to do, the cell reference. So instead of just equals 4 and 87, because we can do that, we can do 4 plus 87 and press enter, and you can see that works. It's actually added those two numbers together, but we don't want to do that. What we want to do is actually add the cell reference together, because if I drag this down, you notice it'll say just 91 every single time. So that's not what I want. What I want to do is this equals, right? Doing it in the wrong place now. So up here, equals, and I pick the cell. So this is B2, and I'll do plus C2 and enter. It's giving me the same number, but if I look at the formula bar, you can see it shows me the actual formula, which is important. And if I click on the formula bar, you can see it's actually selected the different colors of these as well. Okay, so now the trick about this is that I can now drag this down. Now you can go to this little corner here and you can either drag or you can pull it, or you can double click on it. So you can pull it down like that, which is fine, or you can just double click there and it automatically puts them all in for you. So if I just randomly pick one of these, so you can see that if I double click on this one, you can see it's showing me B7 to C7. So that means that these cells, these are called relative cells, and this formula, as I've dragged it down, it's taken the relative cell to where the formula is. So the formula is in D7 and it's doing the relative cells each time, and that's a really cool trick that can work, right, for you. So this is a formula. Right, what about functions then? So what happens when you do functions? Well, functions are different. Functions, what can you describe as functions? Well, they're predefined formulas. So here we've got a formula that just does simple addition, which is great. But what about a formula that's going to add all of these together? Now, one way to do it, if I did here, say grand total at the bottom, and make that blue, make the text white, make it bold and whatever. Right, over here, how do I add all of these together? Well, I could do my equal sign and I could say this one plus this one, right, plus this one, and so on, which would work, but that's not a good idea. The best way to do it is to use a formula, a function, sorry. So the function is equals, and then I would do sum and open a bracket. So I open this bracket here, right? And what I could do is then just select all of them. Now this is a range of cells, as you can see, D2 to D11. So D2 is this one, D11 is the one at the top. And I close the brackets and there, press enter, and now you've got it. I've got the actual addition of all of these together, and I can see the formula right there. Now there's several ways of doing that. That was one way to do it, which is brilliant. But what if I want to do it even quicker? Well, up here in your menu ribbon, you've got one icon here that you can see. That is this one for functions, right? It looks a bit like an E, right? This mathematical symbol. And if I click on it, if I just click once on it, you can see what's happened. It's just put equal sum in there for me, and it's automatically selected those cells, that cell range, which I'm likely to want to do. And if I just press enter, it's done it. That was super quick. Now, how else can I do it? Well, apart from writing it in it, I can press it up here, but I can also go to formulas. And under formulas, I can press that one as well, which is exactly the same as on the home tab. So you can do it home, formulas, or you can type in the formula. Quite often I do like to type in the formulas just to get to know them, to know how they work. So what you can notice from this one is that it's D2 colon D3. So this colon in between says that it's from the first one to the last one. Now I could do a range that's different. Like imagine I do it like this. So that you can see it's D2 to F11. So that's D2 here to F11 over here. But of course I don't want that. I just want these cells. So that would be a bit different. So if I double click in there and just drag this back over, and you can see you can move around these cells, change them as you want. Right, so that's a function, equals sum. That's your basic one. What else can we do? Well, we could do over here stats, let's say. So I'm going to do stats, and you can see on my version, it's automatically, because I've done these headings over here, it's automatically changing this to be the same too. All right, and I'm going to make stats a little bit bigger, so blue over there too. Right, so in this one, I'm going to say get the average quantity of apples. All right, and then I'm going to just pull that one down. Now you notice it's gone over into the other cell, so if I just double click between the G and the H here, then I'll pull that down, and there's quantity of bananas in this second one. All right, so there we've got apples and bananas, and I want to get the average. Okay, so the average, what I could do is a function as well. So you can pick it here, and look, it's automatically selecting to do from this column going across, but this isn't right. This is not what I want. So I'm just going to then do apples going down the ways like that, and enter. So it's given me a decimal point number, as you can see. And if I drag this down, right, it's done something, but you can see it's come up with a little warning sign here. And what's that mean? It says it omits, which means it doesn't include adjacent cells. Right, now if we just look at the formula, you can see there's something wrong with it. So that's why it's given us this warning. And what's wrong with it? Well, it's picked the wrong things. We want the average quantity of bananas. So I'm just going to go over here, grab this, and pull it up to there, and press enter. And now you've got our two formulas. Now, what if you don't want this number? You want to use this number somewhere else, maybe, but you want it just to be 122. You don't want 122.8. You don't want 144.3. You want it to be rounded. Now, there's different functions you can use to round. So if I just write it here for a minute, you can do round, open bracket, and you can see a number and then to a number of digits. Now, round will round down or round up. So if it's 4.9, for example, the number, it's going to round down to 4. And if it's if it's 5, it's going to round up. So that's what it'll do. But you can also do round down. That's a possibility. You can do that, and you can do round up as well. So what we actually want to do is round this formula, round it, and we'll just round it. So it's got 122.8 and 144.3. So we just want to round in this. So what we need to do is put, this is going to be our number, all of this in here. So how do I do it? Well, here, I'm just going to go on front of average and type round and open the brackets. Right? Now, I'll scroll over a wee bit and you can see what's happening. So this then is going to be my number. The equal sign stayed in front. I've now typed round, open bracket. Average has been worked out. And then I'm going to put a comma to separate it. So this average, this is my number. And you can see it's showing me this. When I do round here, it shows me that that's the number. This average, B2 to B11, is the number that I want to round. And then number of digits after the comma. Well, I want to round it to 0. So close the bracket and just make sure all the brackets are closed. Right? So the two red ones, you can see, they're already highlighted, positive average, round, close, enter. So 123. So it's gone up, it's rounded up because I've used round. Okay. Do the same for this one. So I'm going to do it in the formula bar, usually a little bit easier. Then on the end of it, comma, 0, close, and 144. All right, so that's a really good example of how you can use multiple functions. So what do we call this? Well, this type that we've got right here is called a nested function because I've got this average function nested inside my round function, which is now working out these nice averages of the average quantity of apples over a 10-week period. Right, the next one, the next function we're going to do is a really important one, and we're going to put it over here, and we're going to say orders. Right, now on orders, what we're going to do, we're going to say if apples, if there's less than 10 apples, then we need to make an order. Right? So this is easy. We're going to say equals if, open the brackets, and you can see it comes up and it tells me you've got to put in a logical test, a value if it's true, and a value if it's false. Right? So the logical test is basically a condition. So if this condition is true, and you do this in programming, you did this when you were programming your games in Scratch, and you do this loads in programming, but it just looks a bit different here. So it's written like this. If, and we're going to say B2 in this case, which is our first set of apples, if B2 is less than 10, comma, and then I'm going to put in quotes, if that is, oops, just gone off it, go back onto it, there's double set of quotes, so this is my true value, and I need to do quotes because I'm going to put a string, which is some text in here. Now I'm going to just say order, make order, okay? So order, I would say just yes, I need to make orders, right? Yes, and then comma after the quote. And then here I can put no in these quotes, or I could just leave it empty. So what's going to say? It's going to say nothing if it is greater than 10. So here it says yes, right? So order or orders, right? So I need to make some orders. Yes, I need to make an order here. And if this is 10, then I don't need to make an order. If it's 9, it is. I do need to make an order, and you can see that, right? Now, if I drag this down or double click, you can see it's gone down just to this point, down to there. It's not doing it for my grand total, of course. And now I can see with this if selection statement, which is a really small one, just saying if B2 is less than 10, then make an order, say that I need to make an order. Now, we're only doing it for 10 weeks and we're looking at this, but can you imagine it was hundreds of items here and you wanted to see if it was yes, that you needed to make an order or not. And this is really nice because it's highlighting now that we do need to make orders. But there is something else that we might want to do. We might also want to look at our bananas. Do we need to order some bananas too? Now, you might say, well, we should do an if statement looking at the total of apples and bananas, but actually we do want to look at them individually. Now, if we were to do this, how do we do an or? How do we do or? Right? Would it let us do this or like this? We would want to say or that one is less than 10. And when we press enter, it doesn't let us do it. Right? It's saying there's a problem with this. Right? So how do we do it? We have to do it a slightly different way. Right? And the different way we'll do it is using a nested if. So if you've got this if already, that's great. So you can see we've got our condition, which is our logical test, and then inner quotes if it's true, and in the quotes if it's false. Now, this one that's empty, what we're going to do is the same as we did before with our nested functions over here. We're going to do a nested if, and this is quite advanced already, doing a nested if. So where I've got these last two double quotes, I'm going to take them away, and just after the comma, I'm going to write if again and open another bracket. Now, if I've got a bracket here open, it means I've got to close two brackets. So I need to make sure that I do that at the end. So here I've done another if, and now this time I'm going to say if C2. So I had B2 and now C2. Is C2 less than 10? And if the answer is yes, comma, value if true. Well, the value of true, I just want to do yes again in capitals. And if the value is not true, comma, so if the value is not true, just the double quotes, and then close that bracket. So there's the formula, and you have to be very precise, making sure you do this right. If I press then enter, I'm getting a yes here. Now, what we will do when we drag this down or copy this formula down, this one on row 4 should say yes, and well, that would be the only one in this example, but let's say I change 21 down to, like, say 2 or even 9, right? So that's going to change the outcome of where I need to make orders or not. So double click, and there you can see. So I've got this formula dragged down, and it shows me that I need to make orders for apples and bananas. Okay, it doesn't tell me which ones I need to make orders for, but I need to make orders for one of them. Right? So here you can see I need to order apples. Here I need to order bananas. Here apples, and here bananas. Now, what if I had both of them? So this one's now 2. Doesn't make a difference. It's just yes as well. So that's pretty handy. That it's just going to do it whether I need to do it for one or the other. And that is nested ifs. Yeah, so it's quite complicated. There is lots more functions that you'll have to learn, but this was just a brief introduction to those. Make sure that you write down all this in your exercise book, and you've got plenty of notes of how these functions work, okay? Because it's really important that you understand how these are being used.